Morning folks, this is Andy, the Expedition Hiker. And first I'd like to say thank you. Only a couple of weeks ago we did a 500 subscriber giveaway, and now we've actually got to 600 subscribers. So we're getting closer to 750, which is the next giveaway. At this rate I'll be giving 2 giveaways at the same time. Anyway, today, as you can see behind me, we are at Ambergate, and in particular the Ambergate Cricket Club. And today we're going to walk up to Oakhurst Mills, then we're going to go up to Alderwasley, then we're going to head up towards Bolehill, then up to Black Rocks via Cromford Moor, then onto the High Peak Trail, down towards Cromford. Now this route is about 12 miles, should be an interesting one like usual. So, as usual, let's get cracking! So we're just crossing the River Derwent. We've had quite a lot of rain recently, so as you can see it's quite swollen at the moment. So it's a lot wider than I went past here a few weeks ago. And first of all, we're going to take a right just after this signpost, and then we're going to head up to Oakhurst Mills. So let's get on to Oakhurst Mills. Oh, I forgot to mention, so we're in Ambergate, which is in Derbyshire, and it's just outside the lower part of the White Peak of Derbyshire. Wild garlic in abundance, and also flowering at this time of year. So this woodland that I'm going through now, it's actually covered in bluebells. It's nice to see a whole woodland full of them. So as you can see, they are starting to wilt now, so probably got about 2 weeks, possibly only a week before they're gone. Now I've just noticed these. They look like bluebells, but as you can see, they're not blue. White version of a bluebell. So is that a white bell, cream bell? I don't know. And this is the only bit of these I've seen in this whole woodland. So in that guessing, they're quite rare. And we're also trying out some new boots. We've got some the new version of the Merrells mid-range boot. It's Gore-Tex. I'll do a review on this at a later date. As I mentioned, we've got a few bits of new kit, new pair of boots, new gimbal, and a few other pieces as well. So I am doing a wild camp in a couple of weeks' time. We'll be up at Higgerstop near Haversage and Carl Walk. So look out for that video where I'll be showing off my new gear. So we're going to take the Amber Valley 12 route ways, which is also the Betsy Kenny Trail and youth hostel. Now I'll mention about the youth hostel in a bit. Anyway, we're going to head down this direction. So, oh, my hair's on having a funny one again today. Anyway, I'd like to just say thank you to everybody that's subscribed in the last few weeks. Well, anybody subscribed full stop. As I mentioned, we've got up to 600 subscribers now. We're getting towards that 750. Also, it looks like I'm going to be doing an abandoned tunnel sleepover, because I did say a couple of weeks ago 100 likes for that video. Maybe I should have gone for 1,000 likes, because I seem to get 100 likes in probably about 4 or 5 days. So it was a bit pretty easy. Anyway, we're heading into Oakhurst Mills now. Now the mills was originally an iron forge. It was part of the Hearst family. The Hearst family made their money from lead mining, and they were quite wealthy landowners. And in particular, Francis Hearst, he was the one that sort of like started the iron forge being built here, and it is a large building. Later on, in the, I think it was about the 1830s, it was leased out to Charles and John Mould, I think they were called, but within 20 years they became bankrupt. And then after that, Johnson, I think it was his name again, forgetting these first names today, but I think it might be Philip Johnson and his son. They opened a wire factory here. They made telegraph cables and other wire products. And the actual telegraph wire that went under the English Channel of part of World War II was all made here. By 1996, I think it was, the works ceased to carry on, and then after that the actual factories became a bit derelict, and they are still derelict now. Now some of them are used for storage, but I believe it is quite derelict, and they're all abandoned buildings. So you know I like my abandoned buildings, so let's go and have a look at some abandoned buildings. Now as we walk through all these abandoned factory buildings, this isn't a highlight of the abandoned buildings today. We're going to go up to Oakhurst House in a bit. That's believed to be a bit haunted. They're like our haunted houses. As I say, if we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to try and see if I can sleep in the most haunted house in England. I don't know where that is. I don't know how I'm going to do it, apart from sleep. But, well, if it's that haunted, maybe I won't get much sleep. But we'll have a go. Now, we don't really see it very well, but beyond those trees is Oakhurst House. Now, the problem being, I want to get to it, but a new fence has gone up, private property, and there is a camera up here pointing, so we'll try and find an alternative way to get there. So I'm going to head up through Shining Cliff Wood, and then we're going to head up towards Alderwasley. Now that's an interesting structure. Can't really see how it's actually holding, because there must be a bit of weight to that cube, wide cube. It seems to be just on one little point. Now I'm not sure if that's a sculpture or what it is. I don't remember seeing it before. So it just seems to be pitched on one corner. And there's another sculptural type structure. Now obviously the original frame, but then it's been moved. Got a little dog coming to say hello. Hello. And I think these are the guard dogs. Well, who's whining? I'm not sure if he's much of a guard dog. I suppose that's a grass deck. The one little deck chair. Or is it a piece of artwork? Are you a piece of artwork? The House of Doors. Because that's all it is. Doors. I wonder which door you go through to get into the property. You could be there all day trying to work it out. If you're a guest of this person, you'll be knocking on all the doors trying to get in. So as it says, we're at Shining Cliff Woods. And I think the cliff is actually that way. Problem is, we're going this way. So we're not going to actually catch onto it. But we're going to walk up this way, and we'll head up to the Midshires Way, and then we'll head up to Alderwasley. Now there used to be a youth hostel within these grounds of Shining Cliff Woods, but it stopped in, I think it was 2009. It's just an old hut, but I believe it's an activity centre now. Now also this woodland is an ancient woodland, and it was a rural hunting ground for the Duffield Firth Park. Obviously no longer, although you may see the odd deer in here. Well, I'm definitely testing out these new boots. Yeah, testing them out. So it's a lot of muddy puddles today like this, so we will test them out. So in a few weeks I'll give you a review. At the moment, not too bad. So I was recently asked by a couple of people why I love walking. This shows exactly why. Because you cannot find anything like this while you're sitting at home watching TV. Now you may be able to see the view, you may be able to hear the noise, you cannot smell it. I can smell wild garlic, I can hear the birds, I can see the birds. Oh, this is a gorgeous view. And that's why I love walking. Because you never know what you're going to come across. So we've got 2 fire pits here. There's this one. And there's this one, a bit more well established. Now this reminds me back in the Cub Scouts. And we were sitting around the campfire with, well, woolly blankets on, singing songs around the campfire. There was quartermaster stores. My eyes are dim, I cannot see. I left my specs in the WC. I think that's how that went. There was chips as big as battleships in the stores. There was Lily the Pink. I can't remember how that one went. She invented medicinal compound. Dooby doop 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 doo. Anyone know the words to that one? What other one was there? Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. So, a few songs I reminisce from my Cub Scout days, 40 odd years ago. Anyone fancy a wheelbarrow race? As we approach Alderwasley, you can just see in the background it is quite stand. Alderwasley Hall, school and sixth form. It's part of the Senad group, and also we've got All Saints of Alderwasley. So we're going to take a walk up this track and I'll tell you a bit about Alderwasley Hall. So Alderwasley Hall was owned by the Hearst family, and it was actually their main residence. Basically they lived there until I think it was to about 1930s, at which point a Benedictine order purchased the property and it was made into a school, and I think it was about the 1970s it was made into a special school, and this school is actually for, it's from 13 to 18 year olds, but it's a residential school, and it's students that have brain disorders, Asperger's syndrome, and with learning and speech difficulties. But as I say, originally it was Alderwasley Hall. As we look over the grounds of Alderwasley Hall, now the actual grounds is 3,200 acres in total, and it used to be a large deer park. Now, I'm not sure if there's actually any deers floating around now. Heading away from Alderwasley Hall, and now we're going to head down through Alderwasley itself, and then we're going to head up towards Cromford Moor and then up to Black Rocks. He's got a twitch, I think. He's not doing a lot of head bobbing. Now I know Canadian geese are quite protective, and they do attack people, especially when they're young. They are running around like these little youngsters here. I came across Bill, who's actually doing some training as he's about to embark on the coast to coast walk. So he had quite a large pack on his back. Well, good luck to Bill when you actually do your coast to coast walk, and hopefully you're watching. If you are, leave a comment, and it was nice chatting to you. On my right hand side we have All Saints Church of Alderwasley, and I believe this would have been the main church to the house, probably built by the Hearst family, maybe buried within. So we spoke about Francis Hurt, Esquire, and here he is. So to the beloved memory of Francis Hurt, Esquire of Alderwasley. So it's interesting, it's called Oakhurst House, Oakhurst Mills, but it's actually Francis Hurt, not Francis Hurst. I don't know where the Hurst came from. We'll look back towards the back of the chapel. Sometimes it's good to explore. I just walked across behind the back of the chapel and came across this tower here. We definitely can hear the bees and wasps humming around in that lot. Why wouldn't you? A lot of pollen to grab from there. Afternoon, how are you? Do you want a stroke? You're gonna have to get a bit closer than that. Oh, it's an electric fence, you can't get much closer. Sorry, no strokes today. You don't look too happy. You're a bit wet, or you just need some friends. I'm gonna have to dash. Well, I would say it's been a pleasant conversation, but you haven't actually said anything. Nay. Picture postcard cottage. Lovely. Well, I think we're going to have to call this one Bluebell Walk for the amount of bluebells we've seen today. I don't think I've ever seen so many bluebells on one walk. And then we've got some, I'm not sure, I'm not very good with my flowers. For somebody that's into the outdoors, I'm not very good with plants. Got an old trough here. So, you can see just down there, the old trough tray. So the horses have got drinking water from there. Well, you see some things on your walk. Like I say, you never know what you're going to see. Like this plastic horse looking at me. Wonder if it's from like a fairground ride or something like that. Do you think it's going to rain? Because it's a blue sky up there, but you're all sitting down. Isn't it a point that cows sitting down or lying down means it's going to rain? Or is that an old wives' tale? Oh, donkey. Two donkey. Hello, donkey. Hello, two donkey. Eat all. Problem is, there's a bit of a fence between us. So we can't get too close, can we? COVID and all that. Have you had your jab? Little donkey, little donkey. I don't know more words. Little donkey, little dooby-doo. Right, anyway, let's go. I wonder, with my singing voice, why I've never been asked to sing in a choir yet. Or even a bigger stage. I wonder. So we're passing Wigwell Grange. Now, Wigwell Grange has got a bit of a horrible past. Wigwell Grange was built in 1839 for the Goodwin family on the site of an early house and a monastic grange of the convent of Derby. George Victor Townley murdered 22-year-old Elizabeth, known as Betsy Goodwin, on the 21st of August 1863. It was a passion-filled murder where he stabbed her several times because she broke off their engagement. Betsy was stabbed 200 metres from her home. A local labourer found Betsy covered in blood and began to help her home. On the way, they met George, who admitted stabbing Betsy, and then the two men carried Betsy back to the Grange, where she died. George admitted murdering Betsy to her grandfather, Captain Goodwin. George was guilty of his crime and was sent to Pentonville prison, but committed suicide by jumping over a balustrade, falling headfirst 24 feet, shortly after being sent to the prison. Captain Goodwin died 2 days earlier, aged 86. Not only are you the black sheep of the family, you're also the scruffy sheep of the family. Look here, get a haircut. So in front we've got the old quarries by Worksworth. And I believe they were lead and other minerals. And on the horizon line we can just see the wind turbines, that is of Carsington Pastures. Now if we went a bit further on and on our right hand side from Carsington Pastures we'll come to Harbour Rocks, and if you turn left from Carsington Pastures you'll head down towards Carsington Water. Now down here that is Worksworth. I've talked about Worksworth before when I did the Portway Trail, which I'll leave a link to here. You come to one of them stiles which is not easy to go through. Squeeze through. Head up the steps towards the mast. Hello. You go for a stroke? I've never stroked a sheep before. Oh, there you go. I'm stroking sheep. I don't think you want to chew on the barbed wire. It's not going to do you any good. You like stroking, don't you? What about you? You like stroking and all? Anyway, I need to go. Where's your ma? I'm not your ma. Bye bye. And there be the mast I'm talking about, which is actually the highest point of today. We are at, I think, 323 metres above sea level. And here is the trig point. So it shows that we are at the summit, the triangulation pillar. So obviously it's customarily known to touch the trig. 1, 2, 3. The trig has been touched. What's that coming over the hill? Is it a monster? Is it a monster? No, it's Andy. It's the expedition hiker. So the area I'm walking in now looks a perfect spot for a wild camp. So that might be one we're going to have to check out one day. Now actually, directly in front of me is this little thing. And that doesn't look much. Well, to me it does. It looks like it's an old fire pit, the way the stones are wrapped round in a circular shape. Obviously it hasn't been used for some time with the moss growing on it, but I would have thought that was a fire pit at some point. It would have been great shelter from these rocks, possibly used as a quarry at some point. And actually we've got a millstone here, so it does show that it has been used as a quarry in the past. Perfect example of a mill wheel made of gritstone. So this is probably not complete, probably defects on it, so that's the reason why it's been left. So it shows that this area has been quarried over the past, and this is what they created, millstones, which have been used on windmills and alike to grind the stone. So there were usually used to be 2 of them. So and a pole would go in the middle, so the hole you see in the centre would have been a pole there, and then 2 stones, and then like a windmill, the sails would turn around and actually make the pole turn around, which would make one of the grit stones, the mill stones, turn, and the base one would have turned the opposite direction, and crushing the corn, wheat or barley would have been crushed into a fine grain. So this is black rocks. The interesting thing about black rocks is that this is ashlar gritstone. Now ashlar gritstone is more known for the more northern part of Derbyshire, around the Dark Peak, as that's what Dark Peak stands for, is in the gritstone, where the lower part of the Peak District is known for the limestone. So we are in the lower part of the Peak District, so this area is really known for limestone rather than gritstone. So looking down towards Cromford, and that's where we're heading to next. In the centre of the picture we can see Willesey Castle, which Sir Richard Arkwright built, but unfortunately he passed away before it was completed. And then part of Sir Richard Arkwright's mills is the Chimley, which is part of Masson Mill. And then we can see further along there's some outcrops, which is High Tor, and then beyond that is Matlock. And then just looking over to our right hand side a bit, we can see River Castle at the top. Well, that's an interesting place to put a bus stop on the High Peak Trail, and there's no buses coming around here. The stairway to heaven, maybe. So this is sheep pasture incline, steep incline. So the engine house used to pull like a cable, big rope cable up the hill and bring the coal, because obviously the rail tracks couldn't actually bring them up. So brought up by the engine house. So this is a sharp gradient of 1 in 8. So we've reached the dingle. As it says, halfway up, halfway down. Right, well, we're actually coming towards the end of this walk, and I just wanted to say a few things of what's happening up with the channel in the next few weeks. You saw last week the extended version of the Derwent Valley Heritage Way will be coming out. Now, on top of that, we've got a little wild camp coming up on top of Higger's Hall, and next to an old iron fort. And then we've also got the abandoned tunnel. So it looks like I'm sleeping in an abandoned tunnel. So next time, note to self, don't go for 100 lights, go for 1,000. So we will be sleeping with the rats very soon. So look out for that video coming along. We've also got the Pilgrim's Way, South Downs Way. They're long distance routes. I've also got another one I'm looking to do. I'm doing a bit of research on it at the moment. Fits in with the abandoned buildings, and in particular military abandoned buildings. I found a whole host of them down the south of England. Planning to do a walk around that area. Look out for that. Probably be the late summer or the autumn for that one. Sorry about the sunlight at the minute. Seems I'm getting close to 750 subscribers, which for some people, they're looking forward to me to get to 750 subscribers. A certain thing I promised I would do if I got that many. I will let you know what that's about at a later point once we reach that. Anyway, so lots coming up. I'm glad you're following me on the journey, and keep with it because I've got plenty more coming up. I've also got a couple of reviews on some gear. Some of it I've spoke about today. Let's get down to Cromford. Let's get down to Cromford. Let's get down to Cromford. We've made it to Cromford. And in particular, here's the pub, the grounds. So we're going to have a swifty in here. Right guys, so we are at our final destination today, and as you can see behind us, it's Cromford. Today's been about a 10-mile walk, and I'm going to catch the train back from here. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and like always. So all I'm going to say is thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. So cheerio from me, and bye hikers.